What's up, guys? How's it going? It is Matt here. So, I'm going to talk about the gun community. Oh boy, we're going to talk about the gun community and why it's really not that quite of a close-knit gun community that a lot of people say it is. So, we're going to get into it. So, let's get started. So recently, there's been a lot of my videos getting pushed by a lot of outside sources, and actually looking at it, I think I've done a channel for about almost 2 years now. I've been doing this channel for close to 2 years now. My YouTube account's been for 3 years, but I've been doing the actual gun stuff for about 2 years. And I got an email saying, "Hey, congratulations," and blah blah whatever. So, but anyway, so I've been doing these for a long enough time, and my videos are getting pushed really hard, and I'm getting close to 10,000 subs. Which, keep in mind, we have 10,000 subscriber giveaway, which is another holster giveaway, so we're getting close to it. But I've been noticing, over the couple of years of doing this, I've really learned how kind the gun community is and how close-knit the gun community honestly is. So it's like this. There is no such thing as a close-knit gun community. It's pretty much just like your average everyday neighborhood where people disagree with each other, they hate each other, they're doing bad stuff because someone's dog is on their yard and stuff like that. That's kind of what the gun community is in a nutshell. It's a bunch of dudes, bunch of gals that have a lot of hardcore bias, and they really hate each other, and they put their egos into their firearms, and you're wrong for doing this, and you're a jackass for doing this, and how dare you, blah 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 blah. And it's freaking annoying. All right, as gun owners, we want our guns communities to come together, but when it comes down to it, these guys, we're so far divided that it's really hard to accomplish anything when it comes to the political spectrum and stuff like that because of the batting heads, the just slamming heads together in the gun community. Now, as a gun tuber, so I've been doing this channel for a couple of years now, I've seen a lot of comments, and I've met a lot of interesting people through my comments. I have to block a lot of people and stuff like that just because of how crazy the gun community has been. Crazy, insane, at some points insane that the gun community is. It literally is. I don't go, "Hey, how dare you say our community is insane? We're the closest." No, we're not. We are not a close-knit community. We are a community divided by bias, by ego, by rage, by politics. It's a rough community to be a part of. It's like this I get a lot of heat. All right, I get a lot of heat when it comes to like my videos and stuff like that. And a lot of people say, "Hey, your bias is showing," and stuff like that. And you can tell they're the one being very, very biased to me or to my choices and stuff like that in video. Like when I did my Glock 19 versus the 229, that's actually my M11A1, which is technically a 228. One of the ending things was like, I get upset because I was a little upset at the end, a little like, oh man, a little suck, because I shoot the Glock a little bit better. The grouping was pretty much fun back to back, but I shot the Glock a little bit better than a little bit more consistent than I shot the 229. I'm like, man, that sucks because I love my 229 and I want to shoot my 229 better. Yeah, I'm a little biased. I like my double action pistols. I like double action pistols a heck of a lot more than I like a striker fire pistol. It just is what it is. It's my personal preference. I like the extra long hammer troll. I like the fact that when you actually pull it and when you're actually shooting it, you have to definitely make a decision, a life-changing decision. You need to force yourself and be aggressively pull that trigger to make a decision in order to shoot. You can't just accidentally try to stage it and accidentally shoot someone. You have to be aggressive when you pull that trigger in order to shoot it. I like that fact. I like the fact that when I do carry appendix, because I do carry appendix, I don't like doing it with a Glock, that I can simply put my thumb on the hammer like this. I could put it in my holster, and you can feel what's going on with the gun inside the holster, and you can tell it's not going off. I like that in a double action pistol, and I like the fact that after you get through that double action, which is very shootable, very easy to use, that you have a beautiful single action trigger when you're done. I love that. So yes, I'm a little bit biased to my hammer fire pistols. But the problem is I never once have told anyone that you have to choose this pistol over this pistol. I've never once told these dudes you have to choose a double action over a Glock because a Glock sucks and stuff like that. I've never once said that. So how does that make me a bias towards it? Yes, I'm biased towards the guns that I choose to carry, but I don't care. Personally, I don't care what gun you choose to carry. If you'd rather carry a Glock or M&P or something like that, absolutely. If you'd rather carry a high point, phenomenal. Carry a high point, you could rock it, man. I can't rock that thing. If you want to do that, awesome. I have no bias whatsoever to it. I'm not like the dude I talked about in the video when someone asked him, "Oh, I'm having a hard time with this 1911. How should I do it?" I'm not the dude who say, "You know what you got to do? You got to get a Glock. That's how you fix the problem." I'm not that dude. All right, I'm not so biased that I'm going to tell you what to do. All right, I get a lot of stuff about my, when I'm talking about my holsters and stuff like that. I prefer inside the waistband. I prefer concealed carry. And I have a lot of people that say I'm an asshole because I don't like open carry. I never said I don't like open carry. It's not that I don't like open carry. I just personally choose inside the waistband carry. I've done videos on the types of open carry that I really do not approve of, that I have a little bit of bias towards. And that's the people that specifically carry a gun, not as a tool, but they carry it as a political statement or to show off. I cannot stand that, all right? I cannot stand that. A gun is a tool for defense for yourself and a defense against tyranny. That is what a firearm is. So for me, if you're carrying a holster, you only put a gun on to go to a political thing or to make a political statement, you are not doing us a service as a gun community. You are not doing the gun community. You're not doing us as a service. You are being a jackass and giving us all a bad name because you're being an asshole and you're carrying a gun where everyone can see it. That is the type of open carry I cannot stand. The political jackassivists. I did an entire video on that. When it comes to open carry, I really don't care if you open carry or concealed carry if you train with it on a daily basis. Just don't make a fool out of yourself or the gun community as that, because as a whole, when the news and the outside sources, the anti-gun media, they look at us, and when some dude screws up, all right, some dude screws up in the firearms community, the entire firearms community is under the knife, all right, under scrutiny, is under the magnifying glass. It's our fault. It's not the dude that was being stupid with the gun on the outside of the waistband, make a political statement, carrying it in a place where he's not allowed to carry it by law just to make a political statement. It's all of us as a whole. It's not the fact that some kids got together, grabbed their parents' rifles that weren't locked up properly, and decided to go through random people's neighborhoods with their rifles with full kit on and pistols, saying they're using their Second Amendment rights when all they're doing is protesting and trying to create a scene in a neighborhood they don't even belong in, scaring the shit out of the people that have children in these neighborhoods, seeing these dudes in full kit and full camis walking around with rifles. That's not their fault. That's the gun community's fault as a whole. That's what it looks like every time one of these guys goes out, one of these jackdassivists goes out and do stuff. So when it comes to open carry, yes, I am very biased when it comes to that type of open carry, which is being a jackassivist, all right? That's just carrying it to make a political statement or because you invest or to show the world, to show it off, all right? A gun is not a toy to be shown off. Now, a lot of collectors like it, whatever, go to the range. But when you're carrying a gun on a daily basis, it's not something just to show off with. It's a firearm that's for defense. Now, some people may agree with me. For me, a firearm has always been for defense for yourself and against tyranny. That's what a gun is to me. So yes, I'm a little bit biased when it comes to outside the waistband carry. And when it comes to that type of outside the waistband carry, that is when I'm biased. Now, another thing too is what I take a lot of heat because I'm right. I'm conservative, right? I'm a conservative, but I'm not a far right type of person. I'm kind of one of the guys that's in the middle, just trying to live my life, trying to be a dad, and I'm just being an honest gun owner. As a YouTube channel, I'm not just trying to appeal to the people on the far right or on the right. I'm trying to appeal on all ends of the angles, right? I'm trying to appeal to everyone on all lines of it. So when I do something and I actually defend, say, a liberal or something like that because they have constitutional rights, that doesn't necessarily mean I agree with them politically, but I'm trying to defend them. I get a lot of heat from that because how dare you do that because they're our enemy type of deal. It's like, honestly, so you want to continue keeping them an enemy. You don't want to try to appeal to them, try to get them into the gun community so they learn how to shoot and maybe start enjoying it and have a little bit of respect for firearms and actually learn us and start hanging out with us and be like, hey, these are pretty cool dudes and they're not as bad, hardcore, far right type of dudes that we thought they were. So, we can be buddies. We can have a couple beers together and stuff like that. I get heat because sometimes I try to appeal at both sides. I don't just try to stick with one side and I try to avoid the politics. I get a lot of heat in the gun community because how dare I go against the gun community for Pete's sake. It's like, it's ridiculous. Right? It really is ridiculous. So when it comes to the gun community, there's, as an instructor, I see it too. There's a lot of people that are stubborn with firearms and stuff like that. And they're very set in their ways and they're unwilling to change anything. And the second you do something a little different because it works very well or it works for you, you've been experimenting with something like that and you learn it works pretty good, they attack you like crazy with their version of a knife hand through the comments of the video or in public because you are doing it the wrong way because you're doing it wrong. And there's only one technique to do it when there's a million techniques to do it. And it's the fundamentals are the same. And this technique just seems to work very well for me. And that's why I do it. So it's kind of ridiculous because you have the same people like that are, they hate me just because I do things a little bit different than what they're used to. But that makes me a bad person. Now, on the same note, I get some major trolls about, I talk with my hands. I am what I am. I like to talk with my hands. And people called me a meth head, all right? A meth head because I'm animated when I talk. I hate drugs. I drink coffee. All right, that's it. I have caffeine. Caffeine is my thingy. I just talk like this. If anyone's ever known me for any period of time, for my entire life, this is how I've always talked. All right, it is what it is. If my hands were tied, I don't know if I could talk. Honestly, I don't think I'd be able to talk. But I get a lot of heat because a lot of people, oh, he's freaking ridiculous. He's such a distraction. And I'm actually teaching a good lesson for a video. I'm teaching a pretty good lesson that you could actually learn something on. But they are so ticked off because I talk with my hands. They're so upset because I talk with my hands. And this is the worst channel ever, blah, blah, blah. When it's actually pretty, if you just paid attention to the content instead of, just my little mannerisms, if you just actually pay to the content, you might actually, learn something. Maybe learn something that can help you. Then one of the things I do is I tell these people too, I actively challenge these people in all the comments. I have a lot of people that just leave the channel afterwards naturally. I say, okay, like I understand it. I talk with my hands, it's a me thing. It's not a drug thing. It's just a me thing. So I actively challenge them. What I want you to do, I want you to make a video. Make a YouTube video, and I want you to attach it to the video below, and I will make a feature of that video so all my subscribers can go and take a look at it. And we're not going to look at the content of the video. We're just going to look at your mannerisms and how you act on camera. And that's how we're going to tell you all about it. And that's how we're going to judge you when it comes to making your videos, is how you are on camera, not the content that you're covering. So I actively challenge that. And usually they either disappear, and some people are jackasses, and I just block them. So yes, the gun community is, it is like, it's like a freaking gladiator match. All right. The gun community is literally a gladiator match. It really is. Like, for example, yesterday, I had a class. I had a class yesterday. I had 4 students. I'm walking my students to the range, as we went through the classroom. I'm walking my students to the range. There's 2 dudes on the private property. It's private property that we shoot on, and we know that on Sundays it's booked for us. We do our stuff on Sundays for it, and they're shooting around the time that's always booked for us. I'm like, oh yeah, that's weird. If they knew the owners, they'd know that we're going to be here with a class to do this stuff. And as we're walking up, we're about 100 yards away, and I see these dudes have a shotgun. He loads it, pump action shotgun, completely flags his buddy. When it's loaded, it looks like his finger's on the trigger too, right across his midsection, right across his waist, with a loaded shotgun. Then he walks within 3 yards of a steel target and shoots at the steel target, which is one of the best steel targets that we have, breaking the target, knocking it off the actual wood stand that's on. And I'm amazed that I didn't have to pull out my tourniquet and stop the bleeding, because he is so close that it just shrapnels out and just the shrapnel goes everywhere. I was thankful I didn't have to go out there and medically actually attend to this dude, because he was that close to a steel target, shooting it with a defensive slug. He shot the target with a defensive slug that completely broke it off. And then I walk up to them and I bring the students in and I let them know, I give an introduction. This is who I am. I do a class and stuff like that. Like, oh, okay. Well, they're just kind of standing behind me and doing whatever. And then I set up my targets. I completely set up my targets on the actual thing, and I'm ready to teach my students. And these dudes come over. He had a 1911 in his hand. His finger wasn't even off the trigger. His finger was actually on the trigger. And he's walking around, just touching the trigger. He's pointed at my leg. And he wanted to tell me that my students were too close to the targets. Your students how are you teacher? Your students are too close to the target. Well, he's sitting there pointing a 1911 at my leg, unknowingly, putting a 1911 on my leg, finger on the trigger, the safety's on, finger on the trigger, and telling me that was wrong. When I told him the qualification is 10 yards, he looks at it, looks at me, looks at it, he's like, well, 10 yards is 30 feet. I'm like, yeah, I know 10 yards is 30 feet. Well, that just doesn't look like 30 feet to me. I'm like, I've taught close to 200 students here, if not more, this year alone, all right? And I've paced all of this out, and I know where all the places are, and this is within 10 yards. Just look at it, that is 10 yards. And he was determined to tell me that I was wrong. Really? Really? Now, how can you tell me, all right, I'm an instructor. How can you tell me, now I'm not saying it doesn't make me special as an instructor, but how can you tell me when you have a gun flagging pointed at my leg, a loaded gun pointed at my leg with your finger on the trigger, when I just watched you do some of the dumbest things I've ever seen anyone do with a shotgun, almost shooting your buddy in the thigh area and the groin area, and then walking up to a steel target that's about that thick target within point blank range to shoot a double out, or to shoot a defensive slug on it, breaking the target, almost damaging yourself in the process. How can I take you seriously? All right, how can I take you seriously? There are some people in the gun community that are very, they don't have a whole lot of training. But they are very stubborn. They're just jackasses. And for them, the second they get a gun, their ego is just increased. All right, once they get a gun, that ego is increased, and now they get a gun, so that you got to listen to them because they have a gun and they know what they're talking about. When in truth, they probably have little to no training, And I wouldn't want to be anywhere near them when they're actually shooting, because my life would probably pretty much be in jeopardy. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about me. And remember, guys, it's our responsibility to take care of each other and protect each other. Peace.